Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we are back with some more Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links action, and as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are going to be talking about Red Eyes. Yes, for some reason, that was the first deck that I chose to play out of this new box. We did get some new support in this latest box, being our big boss monster, Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. And we'll get into him in a minute, but it really does help tie the archetype together a little bit more and allow for a little bit more power than what it previously had. Now, first of all, let's talk about Red Eyes Fusion. Basically, if your life points are 2,400 or below the attack of Red Eyes, or below, you are able to add a Red Eyes Fusion to your hand by shuffling back a Red Eyes card from either the hand or a Red Eyes Black Dragon from the graveyard to the deck. So it allows you to put back a card, or more importantly, shuffle back a Red Eyes in order to grab up a Red Eyes Fusion. Really solid, really helpful. Now, this is the lifeblood of the deck right here, Red Eyes Fusion, and it basically allows you to fusion summon a monster that lists Red Eyes as one of its materials by utilizing Red Eyes and the other materials from the deck or hand, and just sending them to the graveyard, which is really, really solid, seeing as how anytime you can just send the materials for a fusion summon from the deck, it's really, really good. So, there you go. And we have 3 ways to search it with 3 Red Eyes Insight, so technically we're playing 5. Yes, you could play this card at 3, I only have 2. I would say you don't really need to see 3 of this card. In fact, I would say if you are going to end up playing 3, probably don't play 3 Insight. It does tend to mill your deck, and there have been a lot of instances where counting cards ends up mattering quite a bit, where the opponent just has a lot more cards, and if they played it slow, they would be able to win quite easily. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant, and honestly, I was able to see Red Eyes Fusion multiple times each game due to the skill and due to Red Eyes Insight allowing me to search it pretty easily. Plus, Red Eyes Insight, what it does is it sends a Red Eyes monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and then adds the Speller Trap, so it's really thinning your deck by sending a card and searching a card. So honestly, your deck becomes really thin, and then you're just able to see it more often. So you don't really need to see multiple of it. And having, a third fusion probably isn't going to win you the game. If they're able to deal with the first 2, they're going to be able to deal with the third. Just, that tends to be how it is. And if you have enough material to summon a third fusion, is incredibly rare, and I don't want to have more bricks, like more Red Eyes Black Dragon in the deck. So that's why we're only running 2 of it as well. Only 2 Red Eyes Black Dragon and only 2 Red Eyes Fusion. As for the rest of the cards, we have basically a Red Eyes Warrior, which allows us to summon our Slash Dragon because it does require a warrior monster. We have Wyvern, which has the graveyard effect, which says banish this card from your graveyard, target a Red Eyes monster in the graveyard, special summon that target, and you can't do this if you normal summoned or set the turn you activated this card. And with the distinction that Red Eyes Fusion has, which says basically you cannot special summon or normal monsters for the rest of that turn, or for the entire turn, basically meaning you can't use this after using the Red Eyes Fusion. However, if you do summon with like Red Eyes Spirit, you'd still be able to utilize the effect of Red Eyes Wyvern. Anyway, then we have our 2 targets for this guy. First, we have Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning, and then we have Summon Skull. There's a reason I'm playing both. Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning only counts as a normal monster on the field or in the graveyard, and this specifically requires a normal monster. So it doesn't actually work with Red Eyes Fusion unless you specifically have it already on the field, or already on the field. That's the only way it works. So we play the second one with Summon Skull, and I do not regret ever using a Dream Ticket on this guy. Then we have a single MST. You could switch this out for literally anything. And then moving on to the equip cards, we have Power of the Guardian and Red Eyes Fang with Chain. Red Eyes Fang with Chain basically allows you to steal an opponent's monster and equip it to your own monster. it's really solid. That's mostly what it's going to be used for. And then Red Eyes Spirit, the trap card version of a monster reborn for the archetype. Really solid. Moving on to the extra deck, we have Roach, we have Malevolent Sin, Excalibur, we have Red Eyes / Dragon, and the newest addition, we have Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. Now, if this card battles, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated until the end of the damage step. Really solid. If damage calculation is performed involving this fusion summoned monster, at the end of the battle phase, you can target a Red Eyes monster in your graveyard and inflict damage to your opponent equal to half its attack in the graveyard, and then shuffle it into the deck. So it allows you to return a Red Eyes monster as well as dealing a slight bit of burn damage, which can end up mattering quite a bit, seeing as how this guy is incredibly beefy. If they end up leaving something in attack position after doing something like a Cosmic Cyclone or something like that, this can sneak up on them and end up killing them. So do keep that in mind, as well as if they just happen to leave something with really low attack on the field, it can also end their duel. Anyway, that's the list. Let's check out the duels. Alright guys, so here we are up against Yusei Fudo, and this guy is going to be playing the Stardust Dragon Starlight Road combo, going into Shooting Star Dragon, so we're going to let him go through that combo. He does it in a slightly different way, but all in all, he reaches the same point. However, our hand is 2 normal summonable monsters, a brick, and the card that we exactly need with Red Eyes Insight. Red Eyes Insight gets us to basically the entirety of the deck. We ended up drawing a second one of our bricks, so we're going to end up sending Wyvern to the graveyard in order to search out this card right here, Red Eyes Fang with Chain. As I've already mentioned, it allows you to target an effect monster and equip it to the monster that it equips to. So, you send this to the graveyard, you target a card in the field, a monster, an effect monster on the field. You equip it to the monster that this card was previously equipped to, and then it basically becomes the attack and defense of that monster. So you will see that become very important here. This card has a lot of protection. It has protection from battle, and it also has protection from destruction. Now, it's going to proceed to battle, trying to beat over us. We're going to activate the effect in the battle phase because we don't want him to activate anything else during the main phase, set cards, try to go into more cards or anything like that. So we're just going to steal it, equip it to our guy, and then we are going to normal summon our Gearfried, and right there is lethal. He sees what's going on and surrenders. So pretty simple. This card is one of the newer supports for Red Eyes, and it makes them just slightly better. I don't think the newest support from Red Eyes is going to actually make them a meta-defining threat, but if you do want to play Red Eyes, it's powerful. It's a good strategy, and it now has a lot of cards at its disposal that can end up changing the game. So let's hop into the next duel. And here we are up against Maximilian Pegasus, this time going first, and you'll see why. You'll see what we do going first. We actually draw a really killer hand, being able to search out basically our entire deck, as well as already having the fusion in the hand means that we can end up grabbing the Red Eyes Spirit here. So we are going to summon up our Red Eyes / Dragon, and then we are going to set the Fang with Chain, and immediately in the draw phase we are going to activate that to equip it to our Red Eyes / Dragon. Now, the reason I did this in the draw phase was because I wanted as much protection during the turn as possible. So I was immediately going to equip it, and even as soon as that card flips up, basically, and it becomes an equip card, you can utilize this to prevent and to destroy any card that would target a card on the field. And then during the end phase, we summon up our Red Eyes Archfiend of Lightning. We're going to send another card to the graveyard in order to search another fusion spell. They're going to Karma Cut our guy. We're just going to let that happen because, honestly, I'd rather keep the protection for the next summon. So here we go. We are going to activate our Red Eyes Fusion. We are going to send the Summon Skull and the Red Eyes Black Dragon in order to summon up Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. This card is then going to attack in. He is going to, we're going to equip with Red Eyes / Dragon's effect, and then we are going to attack in again, and nothing was able to activate. Now, when I saw that Dekoichi was sent to the graveyard, I kind of thought this could potentially be a Desperado deck, meaning that I did want to attack the monster with Archfiend Black Skull Dragon because that would have prevented the Desperado from coming down in the first place. So that's why I attacked in that order, but it did end up allowing them to have Temperance activate. So we are going to go once again, but at this point, the writing is on the wall. This card basically hasn't done anything, and if it does end up targeting, we could just negate it anyway. So we are just going to attack for game. He can't activate anything during the damage step, and we get in for lethal. Bada bing, bada boom. Game over. And here we are up against Seto Kaiba this time. We're gonna find out which is better, Red Eyes or Blue Eyes. I actually have 2 Blue Eyes replays, so we'll truly get to see who's better. But of course, you already know these are all wins because I don't show any losses. But here we are, starting off pretty strong. Red Eyes Fusion, double set for the Red Eyes Spirit, and then setting the Gear Freed as well. They're going to go for Ancient Rules, immediately summoning out a Red Eye or a Blue Eyes White Dragon with a Sage with Eyes of Blue. They are going to Synchro Summon into Vermilion Dragon Mech. They are going to pop our Red Eyes Slash Dragon, and we are going to bring it right back, you foolish son of a gun. I had a Red Eyes Spirit set. We actually draw into the best card in our deck, Insight. We are going to send the Archfiend to the graveyard, and then we are going to Insight into a Red Eyes Fusion. Red Eyes Fusion is then going to allow us to summon up with Archfiend Black Skull Dragon, or into Archfiend Black Skull Dragon, and then attack in for quite a bit of damage, and preventing the opponent from actually activating anything, and then we get Ultimate Providence on our attack declaration, because I did actually end up activating the effect of Red Eyes Slash Dragon. Did I need to? No. Did I want to? Yes. Do I care? Not all that much. Anyway, during the end of the battle phase, we are going to target, or we are going to deal 1250 damage, and in all honesty, I did make a huge mistake here because I basically allowed him to discard a card with Ultimate Providence, and I also got my Red Eye Slash Dragon destroyed, when in all reality I could have just not activated either of these effects and just not been destroyed and dealt a significant amount of damage. But all in all, I don't think it mattered all that much because he doesn't activate anything during the end phase and then immediately proceeds to surrender. Now, granted, I don't know how a Blue Eyes player would deal with something like Archfiend Black Skull Dragon too effectively without already having access to your fusion or something like that, and especially since they already utilized Vermilion, I just don't know how Blue Eyes is supposed to deal with this besides like a Karma Cut, which at that point, sure, but it'd have to be set for a turn, and then I can bring back, you know, with the other Red Eye Spirit. Honestly, it didn't end up mattering that he didn't activate that effect, but there you go. And here we are up against Yami Yugi. I know it's Yummy. We end up going second here again. And we end up drawing a pretty good hand. This time we've got the Mystical Space Typhoon and an Insight and a Power of the Guardian. But it doesn't end up mattering because they are playing Satellar Knight. I am going to do a quick synopsis of how this duel goes. I keep summoning monsters. He times out. He literally loses to time. So I am going to do we're just going to fast forward this entire thing. Do you know what's interesting? This card says, if this card is summoned. Meaning, even if it's flip summoned, he gets the effect. This card's... Teller Knight cards are dumb. Teller Knight cards are incredibly stupid. He gets down to like 7 cards in his deck, and then shuffles back an additional 5, and that happens like 4 times before I actually deck out. Anyway, you'll see, just this entire duel is so long and so egregious. I end up drawing both of my Power of the Guardians, and I'm just going to continue to attack in constantly. Now, you may be wondering, why did you not go for your this guy, your Archfiend Black Skull Dragon? Well, at this point, I didn't actually have Summon Skull in the deck, so I actually didn't have access to him. So I would have, and it would have been so much better, preventing things like the Deltaros from recurring, preventing things from activating during the damage step, would have been insanely useful here. But because I wasn't playing that normal monster that could actually be a normal monster in the deck, I ended up losing. He actually ends up trying to Fiendish Chain, but guess what? I don't actually have to have an equip card equipped to this card. It's just any equip card. Send an equip card you control to the grave, bada bing, bada boom. So if you have an equip card equipped to a different monster, you can still negate the activation of an effect. that targets, I should say. But here we go. We're going to keep battling. He's going to keep summoning up monsters. He's down to 8 cards. I'm down to 4. At this point, I'm worried about a deck out. That's what's going on here. Basically, I've just been beating into him relentlessly. And the only reason we are actually seeing this duel in its entirety is because it just shows you the strategy of Red Eyes in particular. I actually end up making a mistake here. I take the Botalmus instead of trying to take a Deltaros. Deltaros is the only thing that I needed to take, and I didn't do it. So I made a mistake here. He summons up another Deltaros. He tries to pop. He negates. Okay, interesting thing. So, what happened? He targeted... Let me do this real quick. He activates the effect of Deltaros, targeting this Blue Eyes, I keep saying Blue Eyes. This Red Eyes right here. I activate that Red Eyes' effect, sending the Gearfried. Then he negates. Meaning, honestly, he went 2 for 1, right? So, I lost the 1 card. I mean, I technically lost 2. But I lost the 1 card, and he lost the 2. So, there you go. Just an interesting thing to note. Unlike something like Witchcrafters, where you can only activate the 1 effect, you can activate this effect as many times as you want on whatever Red Eye / Dragon, and it doesn't have to be your own, and it doesn't have to be the one that's equipped with anything. So, there you go. And as you can see, time limit win. Was this worth it? No. But I did end up getting the win. And here we are up against Seto Kaiba once again. Blue Eyes. You love to see it. And if I lose a rank. And this guy's on a win streak. Oh, this is just going terrible for us. He's playing a 23 card, 9 extra deck, Ultimate Dragons. I don't know what's going on here. But he made a crucial mistake. And I'll show you what it is immediately. He left Sage with Eyes of Blue in attack position. I don't care what that set card is. I don't care what Dragon Spirit of White does. It doesn't matter. We drew access to the big boy himself, Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. Which means lethal. I fast-forwarded through that by accident, but basically I attacked into his attack position monster that has 0 attack, dealt 3200, activated the effect at the end of the battle phase, targeting my Red Eyes Black Dragon, and proceeded to burn him for an additional 1200. I don't know if you knew this, but this game has 4000 life points instead of the original 8000, meaning if 3200 and 1200, that's over 4000. Yeah, I dealt lethal with the effect of Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. Entirely hilarious, and I'm pretty sure preventable, given the fact that that card in the back row was most likely a Karma Cut, or at the very least, it was a negation of some kind that he could have utilized in order to discard a card and prevent the burn damage from happening. But instead, he had no idea what was going on and died. Red Eyes reigns supreme once again. So, is Red Eyes top tier? No. But it's fun. It's really fun. A lot of the support that they've gotten recently has increased, not the consistency, but specifically increased the actual power ceiling for the deck. Being able to just target a monster and steal it, basically, with Red Eyes Fang with Chain is really good. Having access to a 3200 body immediately on the field, as well as the fact that it has additional burn damage. It has a way to prevent the opponent from activating anything during the damage calculation and damage step is super nice. This card is a great addition. Yes, it does force you to play bricks like Summon Skull, but honestly, this deck already played a lot of bricks, so it's not all that big of a deal, especially when you have such an insane card like Red Eyes Insight. Red Eyes Insight is hands down one of the best search cards ever printed. It allows you to basically put a card that you want into the graveyard in the grave, as well as search out any card that you need from the archetype, right? Sending things with Red Eyes Fusion as well is insanely good, right? And granted, we don't have access to something like Dragoon, But all in all, we still have access to some really good fusions. As for the rest of the extra deck, it's basically whatever you want to throw in here. But honestly, I'm so happy with this new support. It's been super fun. That's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links action, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.